right, so first up, the winner of our crazy beer tour, we have a lot of beers here, is the Dogfish Head Palo Santo Marron, which was unbelievably good, super dark, super alcoholic. It's actually 12%. Crazy, crazy. All right. The next up, number 2 runner-up here, is the Rogue Hazelnut Brown Nectar. Really just delightfully drinkable, very mysterious. The nose is very different than the body. Number 3 here, so we have the Ballast Point Lager. It's a very, very nice lager. It's almost like a wheat beer. And then we have a lovely cider here, the Angry Orchard Traditional. We actually had a really hard time deciding between the traditional and the crisp apple here. They're both very, very good. So those are going to be the 4 beers that we're going to have here for our wedding. Just to go and do a quick run through of the other beers that we tasted, because there were a few here. We've got the Peak Organic Pomegranate Wheat, which was actually surprisingly light. It's not super sugary or like crazy flavored like you might think a pomegranate might be. Very, very subtle pomegranate there. We got the 1664 Blanc, which I had remembered as being a subtly flavored beer, but actually it's very fragrant, very fruity. A lot of orange and lemon in there. So those were our very favorite beers right there. Now here we've got our Franziskaner Weissbier, super classic. You can find this at a lot of good bars. Pretty decent, very drinkable, good beer. The Dogfish Head 90-minute Imperial IPA. A little bit hoppy, very nice. The Peak Organic Weiss Principal. Pretty smooth, just a tiny touch of hops. The Red Trolley Ale we've got here. Also nice, light brown beer. We've got the Ommegang Three Philosophers, which I'll be honest, I was a little disappointed by. I had remembered Three Philosophers being amazing, and this was pretty decent. It's a Belgian quadrupel. Lightly sweet. Nathan had commented that he thought this tasted like cherry cola, which is about right. Here we've got the Ovila Dubel. A little bit nutty, pretty decent Dubel, but a little over-carbonated and a little forgettable. We've got the Eye of the Hawk Select Ale right here. Pretty drinkable. Yeah, I may have underrated this. It's decent. It's a little bit forgettable, but yeah, you want to go and polish off a big, tall bottle. This wouldn't be a bad bottle to choose. We've got the Green Flash, which is the brewing company that also produced our very worst beers at the end, Saison Diego. This was a light Belgian Saison. Very nice, lightly spiced beer. And here we've got the Heretic Shallow Grave, which was variously described as watery coffee grounds and like kind of a dark and mysterious. I like it. It almost reminds me of like a bourbon barrel-aged beer. Now here we're going to go to the half of the beers that we liked a little less well. We've got the Ommegang BPA here.
Oh, you did? Which one on the end?
It's a Belgian-style pale ale versus an India pale ale, I guess. It's decent. We kind of put this in the middle. It wasn't a bad beer, but we weren't in love with it. Now we start getting into the hoppy beers that I like less. So here we've got the Lagunitas Lucky 13. It's a pretty hoppy beer. I'm not in love with hops. NATO's showed up. Cool. Here we have the Hangar 24 Alt Beer. It was kind of a forgettable brown beer. And here we have Ballast Point, the Wahoo. Pretty miserable wheat beer here, kind of tasteless. We've got the Schofferhofer Hefeweizen. Also a mildly disappointing wheat beer. kind of flavorless and forgettable. We have the Wind and Sea Wheat.
These are the top contenders.
In the same vein, not totally in love with this beer. And now here we start getting into like the really like aggressive beers that didn't sit well with us at all. We've got the both of them actually from the Green Flash Brewing Company. We have the Palate Wrecker Hamilton's Ale. Super hoppy, very aggressive. And then finally we have got at the very end of the whole super long bar, NATO's here now trying this stuff out. Woo! We've got Le Freak, which was as much like cough syrup as anything else. None of us could really stand this beer.
Okay, I'm gonna try that one first.
Oh God, this is like medicine. Yeah.
This one?
Thank you. This is Le Freak. Take a big mouthful of this. Go for it. Chug, chug, chug.
That's interesting.
Who can do that?
Wow, NATO, you're a tough man.
I like dogs.
That's a beer.
So that's our full lineup of beers, going from aggressively hoppy and stuff we didn't really like, stuff that was kind of okay, stuff that we liked and was good beer, to amazing beers that we are going to serve at our wedding.
Okay.
Woohoo!
I thought Palate Wrecker was worse than the other one.
All right.